you got a lot of kids on your social media, right? So the one in particular struck me. I can't remember if it was on Facebook or Instagram. It was a little guy who had some sort of a cancer or something like that, and he had a bucket list, and on his bucket list was to, get in a race car. And I wonder if I'm sure you remember the kid I'm talking about.
His name is Darian Nordstrom. It was in March of 2016. I was basically 1 year into racing. I had only been racing for about a year. At that time, I was moving up to the NASCAR K&N series. I was getting ready to do my first race for that year in that series, maybe like a week or two after that. And, I had just heard about this kid, and at that time, he was 4 years old, out of Vegas. And one of my Naval Academy friends actually reached out to me, and he was a classmate of mine, reached out and was like, hey, there's this kid in Vegas. He has terminal cancer. Doctors pretty much told him he only had maybe a couple months to live. And, and he said he had made a bucket list. And part of his bucket list was to be able to get a ride in the race car. So for me, I was like, I want to try to make this happen, whatever I got to do. So at that time, I was still strapped for cash, still trying to pull in money to race. At that time, moving up to NASCAR K&N series, we're now at a point where, it's costing about $10,000 per race to race. So every dollar counted. So what I did was I actually took money from my racing funds that I was going to have for that first race. I took actually like maybe $1,200, $1,300 and took it from there and used it to buy a plane ticket and hotel and everything for Darian and his family to fly from Vegas to Idaho, where my race team I was racing with at that time was based at. So we flew them up there, and we had a kind of an old race car that we actually cut out some little portions of it, and we were actually able to put a second seat in there and make it a two-seater race car, because race cars aren't only two seats. But we were able to put a second seat in there, and we used that seat to give him a ride in that race car in a small little local track we had in the city. It was like a little quarter-mile oval small track, so you're not going too fast there. But we were able to bring him there and give him that ride, and just seeing the look on his face, seeing the look on his family's face. I mean, his mom was in tears, and Darian was adopted too, by the way. I'm not sure who his original parents were, but he was adopted. So, for the family to adopt this kid as a baby, and then all of a sudden find out a couple of years later that he's not going to live long because of cancer, and I mean, it was pretty rough on them, but they were doing everything they could to provide him the best life they could. And I was so happy to be able to provide him that opportunity. And later that year, he was able to make it to his 5th birthday, which was in October that year. And then going into 2017, he actually made it to his 6th birthday. And then going into 2018, just about a month before his birthday, he passed away. But I was able to see him one last time. I think it was 7 days before he passed away. I was able to see him one more time. And his mom had reached out to me right before then and said, hey, Darian, he's not doing so well right now. We really think this is really about to be it now because he's losing a lot of weight and things are just kind of going downhill. So Darian had told his mom, he's like, Mommy, I don't want to go to heaven unless I see Jesse again. And I was like, wow, like that was super powerful. So I drove all the way to Vegas. Me and my girlfriend drove to Vegas, and I brought some gifts for him, some things that I planned on keeping for life, my first race gloves, first race shoes, things like that. And I gave it to him. But I was like, you know what, I want this to be yours. And I want to put one more smile on his face. And that was super, super special. And, a week later, he passed away. But, I was happy that we were able to do what we could for him for his final few years in this world. And, he appreciated it a lot. And it's just things like that. Anytime we can give back to people who, are struggling in this world. A lot of people struggling in different ways, whether it's, a lot of people are struggling in different ways. So back as Academy grads, we're all blessed with the opportunities that we have. Just to even go to the Naval Academy and graduate and be able to go off and do all the great things we do, whether it's in the military or it's civilian world, we're all doing a lot of stuff. I know we all get crazy busy, but never forget that there's someone else who's struggling, who wishes they could be in that position, who wishes they maybe could have the life that you have or be able to just live, period. So we can't ever forget that. Always remember to give back. Because eventually it will come around. Good things will happen to you. But you always got to remember, give. Don't be stingy, give.